Just a badass book, and the whole time when I was reading it, I just had like this action movie music playing in my head as they're like kicking ass and fighting crime.
Across the nation, people are asking, what are comic books? How do I read them? And what are they about? Well, I can't get into my house. Do you know where my car keys are? And other questions. We can solve like 3 of those.
Yes. Mostly what are comics and
I don't know where your
how big do they get? Yeah.
Aliens, you know, murderings and stuff. Secret government agencies, good stuff. And then another number 2, Rasputin. So I really enjoyed this one. I told you guys that I enjoyed this one, and I was kind of surprised because I went back to the comic shop that I work at part-time, and I was like, oh, so you guys like Rasputin? And a couple of people were like, like, oh, really? And the biggest complaint that I heard was that there aren't enough words.
I think DC and Marvel tend to let politics and bureaucracy stifle the imagination and creativity of comic book makers. I think they resort too much to gimmicks to sell books, like the 3D covers or the earth-shattering events. I read that a couple months from now, in March of 2015, the next DC gimmick is selling comic books with covers that resemble movie posters. It's like, come on. Well, I'm definitely going to get the Batman ones, but geez.
We've been standing here for, what, 10, 15 minutes? I hope we don't have to wait. We've been waiting a long friggin' time. Yeah. We should, I mean,
this is basically about a punk rock band who are zombies, and that's kind of their onstage shtick. But they've been zombies for so long now that they're starting to give in to their zombie impulses, and they don't want to eat their fans because that doesn't seem like a very good way to establish your fan base.
If you like dysfunctional people living in a dysfunctional society full of violence and anger, then this is the comic for you.
Looks like you got Hulk falling from the sky here, about to fall on top of Deadpool. This has been kind of cool right here. This is Deadpool trying to sell a book that he's written about war, and he couldn't get it published, so the publishers said if he could create war, that the issues would sell more, because it'd be like more of like a buzz topic in the news. So he like provoked Loki and Thor to go to war with each other, and then that's spilling into Midgard as Loki's gonna attack Midgard because it means the most to Thor. So war's coming to Midgard, Earth, and that's where you are with this right here. Just good crazy Deadpool stuff.
But I love this old costume. I don't know why. Maybe it just shows his bare chest. I like that. I like bare chests, but no, I don't. Anyway, I like the old Falcon costume. Nothing great, but it was a good pickup at 50 cents. You know what? I don't have a lot of explanation for this one.
Now approaching, it's 50 years old now.
Yeah,
50-year-old book,
I mean, this
52.
book is older than me,
Yeah.
and it's in better shape than me. I tell you.
Yeah.
It emphasizes the depth of focus, because it looks like he's coming right at you, but you're actually looking kind of in a downward angle. So that I thought that was definitely indicative of the use of that space is definitely Neil Adams, if anything.
So there was an artist who wanted to bring Batman back to his darker, grittier side, and he kept coming up to the editor and asking if he could work on Batman or Detective, bring him a little bit more gritty, and the editor kept refusing it because, I mean, why kill a cash cow when you don't have to? So he kept needling them, and finally the editor gave this artist a chance on this particular series, Brave and the Bold, first issue 79. This artist is Neil Adams.
Now, the cool thing about this is this same artwork was used on a vinyl album called The House of Terror, which was just sort of a collection of horror sound effects, horror stories, that kind of thing. Scary fun songs. The Monster Mash was on there, the Purple People Eater, all that kind of stuff. And these illustrations of Neal Adams were used as the cover art for that particular album. Well, not only was I able to pick up from that dealer this magazine, but from the same dealer in the same purchase, I picked up the House of Terror album. Yes, I did.
Definitely show you a better view of it once I get it out.
I'm not expecting this to be like early Hellboy with the BPRD stuff, because that is the best. That's, you know, the pinnacle of how.
It's hard for me to talk about without saying cheesy in some sense, because lots of people, you know, as cynical people anyway, go, ugh, hope, you know, and get and kind of roll our eyes. But there's this story of hope that's in here, and optimism.
But then in the courtroom, the prosecuting attorney's crowning argument was, well, that's all well and good, but as we all know, comics are for children.
Right.
And then the CBDLF had to get involved to defend this retailer, because that's the kind of prejudices and weirdness that can happen in comics. Is in such a weird place, right? Because we've got all these superhero stories that are trying to get more and more edgy and adult. So within the comics community, within like the direct market comic community, there's some kinds of stereotypes of they're not for kids anymore. They haven't been for 20 years.
Right.
But then outside of the comics community, we've got this whole thing about this is trivial kiddie stuff, right? And so the people in the know are stuck in this weird battleground.
Yeah, so 20, 30 years ago, we're trying to say comics aren't just for kids anymore.
Right.
And now there's like, but comics can also be for kids, right? Because you're making that argument all the time. On
something. I love the Little Monsters book. You know, you can look that up. You know, that's from the 60s, and it's this little family of like Frankenstein monsters, and we got Captain Carrot, and I got all this stuff. A lot of the stuff where you wouldn't do it. My pizza's done. So, you know, we'll go here and get my pizza.
Till next time, remember, packing and boarding is never boring. Thanks for watching.
Like this video, share, and subscribe. I'm just going to dance every time I do that from now on. That'll keep our analytics from dropping off, maybe. Actually, I'm a bad dancer. That won't happen. Our analytics are going to drop off. They'll be like, oh no, quick, before she dances, stop. Close the computer.